About young Moses Itauma fighting Alexander Usyk and fighting other big names. And my opinion is not someone who don't know boxing. My opinion is someone who has been there and won every single belt, won everything there is to win in boxing, and done very well. Boxing is a young man's game. Like I told Vladimir Klitschko when he was 37, boxing's a young man's game and he waits for nobody. So here's the opinion, you've heard it here first. Moses Itauma will wreck all them old men out of the division. Usyk, AJ, Miller, whoever there is who's old, Zhang, whoever else there is, Luis Ortiz, all these big names of the past are all a spent force. And even the world champion now, if they took my belts and give them to Usyk, Moses will wreck him. Because he's a young man versus an old man. An old man can't mess with young men.
All right, Tyson Fury saying it's a young man's game in the sport of boxing, saying that he believed Moses Itauma was smashed with Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk. I disagree, but let's talk about it. Heavyweight boxing talk. Check out the Heavyweight Boxing Talk playlist. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Yeah, I disagree with it. I mean, he takes experience. Itauma, most of his fights ain't even got out of 3 or 4 rounds. So how can you say you get in there with Usyk and you get the 5, 6, 7, 8 rounds? And how you supposed to compete if you've never been there before? And like I said, he got good hand speed. He got good posture. He bring his hands up. You can see he a little bit green a little bit. But what happened, when a master conditioned fighter get in there and take him to the later rounds? Where's that power going to be at? You going somewhere that you never been before. You going in those, he ain't even been in those middle rounds for real. I think the farthest he went was a 6-rounder, and that was in the beginning of his career. So he ain't been past 6. So look at Dan Du Bois. He got knocked out of 6 or 7. Fighting a guy like Alexander Usyk is a different type of, it's mentally fatiguing, it's physically fatiguing. I like what Moses Itauma said after his fight. He said his team want him to get some rounds, and yes, somebody durable, like he said, like Jermaine Franklin, that can take a punch and keep coming. We ain't seen the kid get hit yet. We ain't seen the kid face adversity, get a cut. We ain't seen him hit a guy. He don't go down. He keep coming. Yeah, we want to see those things. And they kind of saying like the I wouldn't say Mike Tyson. Good punching power. He remind me probably more of a Holyfield type, honestly. More than Mike Tyson. Just from what I seen on Saturday. That's the first time I really seen him. Mike Tyson really weaved, get on the inside, He using his distance, his jab, boop, 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 using the speed. He kind of give me more Holyfield vibes. And I hope that he got the Holyfield durability, the Holyfield chin. But we already know when dealing with British fighters, there's always something missing. It's always that intangible that's missing, that dog, that motor, that engine, that heart, that will. And if they got that, then they missing some type of skill or some type of coaching. That's what they really be missing. Like some of those guys over there are iron tough, but then they don't have the resources to really go to the next level. You kind of see what I'm saying? They don't have the proper coaching to go to the next level. And if I was him, I probably would take my ass over to America and get with some of the top coaches over there. I'm not saying his coach doing a bad job, but if you wanna cover the rest of those flaws that he going, probably coming to America and learning how to fight with somebody like Teddy Atlas or find a liaison that can cover John David Jackson, that can give you the rest of the missing pieces to the puzzle. Because a lot of those British fighters don't be having the skill set. They don't have the artillery. They don't have the artillery, for real talk. They got the heart. They got the, a lot of guys, that Melbourne Pot is pretty much immigrant haven over there. When you talking about the Nigerians, the Ghanaians, what I'm saying, the Jamaicans, hope I said the Ghanaian people right. They got a bunch of talent. And Pakistani or Indians, like Amir Khan. But a lot of them guys didn't really learn how to defend and some of the little nuances. And really, the heavyweight division is, it's really international right now. Americans don't participate in it, and it's a lot of money being left out when Americans don't participate in heavyweight boxing. Because you started talking about, it's nice to fight in Monte Carlo, it's nice to fight in the Middle East, it's nice to fight in Japan and China, but ain't nothing like fighting at the Mecca, Madison Square Garden, nothing like fighting at the capital, Las Vegas. But without a heavyweight champion, in America, you don't have no reason to go. Unless you really gonna sell yourself to America. And I seen Ben Whitaker, he's always already been over here trying to sell himself to the Americans, which is smart. So, but for the honest part of it, man, yeah, I mean, it's not just a young man's game. No, him saying, oh, it's a young man's game. No, it's a game of wisdom. We've seen Bernard Hopkins beat younger guys, Kelly Pavlik, Antonio Tarver, as far as in boxing years for Tarver, because he's kind of was like a late starter. But, we've seen the old dog finesse the young dog many, many times before. And we've seen the young dog, Alfredo Benitez, win his first world title. We've seen the young dog come out on top. And he's been in there with Moses and Tom in the gym. But for the most part, if you ain't been past 6, you ain't even been past 6 on the world level, that was on the smarter level. Like, what do you expect? I think only 24 amateur fights. The kid only had 24 amateur fights. So yeah, slow it down. Slow stroke it. No, did he? Slow it down. See how he do when he get to 10, 12. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be the tell how you gonna act when he get punched. Seem to got a real good temperament, seem to speak well, seem to bring his hands back home. But to say that even Anthony Joshua, to say he beat Joshua, like that's a world level fighter. He ain't on that level yet. Dillian White, that wasn't world level. You get Jermaine Franklin, you getting there. But then you're talking about Ege Cabal, Zizan Zhang, always know whatever his name is. Jarrell Miller. Now those are world level fighters. Andy Ruiz. You know? Just because you're the younger man, what the fuck that mean? Look what Daniel Du Bois happened to Daniel Du Bois. That older guy, Usyk, he got all the answers. So he ain't physically got to be him. No, he ain't got to physically be the fastest no more. He just beating you mentally. He literally just beating you mentally. With the feints and the guessing and the movement. Is he coming? Is he going? Is he punching? Is he sliding? That's the thing. That's the number one thing. But no, he's wrong. AJ will pack most of the time up right now. And Usyk will pack him up right now. But give him, if they got him, if he come back by the end of the year versus Jermaine Franklin, then get in there with maybe I was before he fought Jared Anderson, maybe get in there with a FN Jabba and Jabba. Shit out as hell. FN Jabba. Then I wouldn't probably put him in there with a Ege Cabal, Joseph Parker. And then I feel like he'd be ready for a title fight then. You'll know a lot more. Jermaine Franklin. What else I say? Jermaine Franklin should be first by the end of the year if they can get him. He ain't fought in a minute though. I forgot what else I said. But I said it already. What is it? Parker, Cabal, somewhere in there, and the other 3 fights, he'll be straight. You'll know more about him. But to say that right now you crowning him, and it's a young man's game, but also it's a place for the old dogs in there. When you've been 12 and 10 so many times, you've been on the canvas, or you've been hurt, or you've been through adversity, you know how to finesse the game. You know how to take time off in between rounds, and you know how to slow a younger fighter down. You know the mistakes that he's making. It's just his timeline at 20 years old. Why rush it? Why rush it? Why put the kid in, he get to the 6th, if he makes the 6th, 7th round, so he just learning versus Usyk. Like you learning, you dealing with the mental fatigue, the feints, the he pop you here. Like, why would you put your fighter at a disadvantage like that? When you can go out there and get that experience versus Chisora, versus Miller, versus Cabal, versus Franklin. You need to go get that experience. You need to go get that experience. You need to find somebody that's going to take you 12, take you 10, take you 12, make you really fight in championship rounds, so you know what it feel like. But him and Usyk timeline may not match up. Obviously, it's not if he don't fight him next. Usyk going to retire, as he should. I done did everything. Beat AJ twice, beat Fury twice, beat the boys twice. You know, Wilder fell off the bottom of the map. So, I mean, what else y'all want from me? What more do you want? You know, me personally, I would just have him go to America and start fighting. Start training with somebody over there. Put the finishing touches on his game. Me personally, that's what I would do. I would just go put the finishing touches on his game. You know, and it ain't that much. It's just conditioning. It's just little things that he can learn and stuff. But a lot of them, and AJ told them that too. He said, y'all need to go train in America. You know, and that's the facts. That's where you're gonna really do, get your development from. But a lot of them dudes, like obviously we do, we like to be comfortable close to home. You know, but we'll see what happens, man. But honestly, for him, yeah, he definitely, if he can take his time, he definitely next up, in my opinion, for sure next up. So I'm a fan from what I've seen. So shout out to Dog. Check out the Heavyweight Boxing Talk playlist. Check out the Boxing News playlist. Thumbs up the video. Share the video. Subscribe to the channel. The subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications. Increase your chance to get notifications. We go live or drop video. Financially, you want to support the channel. Cash App, $ CJ Good 313. Venmo, CJ Good 313. PayPal link in the description. The link tree, you can find me everywhere. X, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Peace.